So now that you've got all 4 of your walls framed and sheeted, you're ready to move on to the rafters. Now rafters, just like floors and walls, there's a ton of ways to do them. On this shed, I'm building 2x4 rafters on 16-inch centers. So how I'm going to do that, I'm going to make a pattern first. So you take a piece of scrap 2x4 and slide it down just until it touches the top plate. You need to be in line, have the top and the top plate all in line. And go ahead and orientate this piece of wood by writing top and arrows to left and right. That way you know this is not going to get confusing. So once you're again resting against the top of the top plate, take a straight edge, hold it against both of the top plates, all right? And then while you're still in line with the top of the top plate, you want to make a mark down that straight edge. Just like that. Now you cut that out, and that's your bottom angle. If your wall is plumb, it's not going to move. Do the same thing on the top, and you're going to have a pattern for the top and bottom. And as long as your pattern of the 2x4 that you've cut slides across, you've done a good job. I'll show you what the rafter looks like next. Now that you've got your first rafter cut, hold it up, making sure it fits, and this does. And you'll want to slide it across at all your studs and make sure that it's going to fit in like it should. Once you're satisfied, mark this with top, left, and right so that you don't get it confused, and make about 6 more just like it. But first, when you get 2 of your rafters cut, go ahead and nail them with 16s at the top of your top plate, making it flush, nailing them into the top plate and into the stud. And you're going to need to do that on both ends. So get that done first, and then we'll go on to the next step. Now you see, I've got my first rafter clamped across the top plate. And you may have to use clamps because this wood, again, it's not very straight. Even very small waves in the wood throws it off an inch or more at 8 feet. So just take your first pattern that you've cut and attach it to the top plate just like I've done, and put several 16s in it. Put them at every stud, and just a few more random at the plates. And do this same thing on the other side. So now that you've got the rest of your rafters cut and lined up with the studs, take some of the scrap from your short wall and cut it for spacing in between. So what this does is it allows you to line your rafters up on the studs, keeping the load going down always onto the studs. And these bracing boards allow you to nail into the double top plate and then into the side of these rafters. Once you're ready to put the roof sheathing on, install this just like the walls and the floors. About 6 inches in the field and 4 inches on the frame. I'm using number 8 coated sinkers. You can use those, or you can use ring shanks, or you can use screws, whatever you'd like to get the job done. onto a roof that has a loose sheet of plywood or OSB, don't ever step on that sheet because you will go down fast. Always step around it. Have a different way if you have to. To have a 2x4 or 2x6, something at the bottom that stops it and lets it hold in place on the roof, because these things are like ice. If they're not attached, they'll slide right off the roof and take you right down to the ground and into the emergency room if you're lucky. So step around. It may look difficult, that's only because it is. Now, see, when you're on the lower level, I've got to spin it around long ways in order to get it in position without stepping on it. All right. Because stepping on it is no good. That's looking great. It's looking super. All right, I'll get that nailed off. It's tacked in place good, but just nail it off, just like we talked about. 6 inches in the field, 4 inches on the edge. So to put this roof on, you're going to need hook blades. Don't try to do this with a utility blade. You will never cut these shingles. And whatever dry end that you're using, if it's felt or whatever, it won't cut right. It'll just bunch up and tear. Also, 1.25 inch roofing nails is what I'm going to use. You can use a 1 inch, you can use 1.5 inches, but this is what I use. When you start your roofing, make sure that you've got roof cement. You must have it. You cannot put a roof on without roof cement. If you are, you're doing it wrong. All right, when you're putting your starter shingles on, slide it over about halfway and cut it off, and then start it from there over, and then a full shingle can go on top of this without having seams that are open. Okay, now when you're ready to start putting your shingles on, this goes for the starter course as well. You're going to take some roof cement, and you're just going to take a nice bit. You're going to go up that side. All right, when you're ready to put a shingle on next, we have 6 inch drops. So what that means is on each course of shingles, we take off 6 inches. On this course, we're taking off 18 inches. I'll show you what that looks like next. Okay, we're using Owens Corning shingles, and they're 39 inches long. So we take 6 inch stair step drops off of each one, giving overlaps at all of our seams. Once you've taken your 6 inch increment off of your shingle, again, this is 18 inches, take it off of the side that hangs over. Leave the factory side alone. Place the shingle into the cement, and you're going to want to pull this shingle down just until it touches the raised portion of the shingle that you're placing it on top of. So once that's completely covered perfectly, it's in the cement, Then you can take the appropriate amount of nails. For this shingle here, I want 4 nails. For a full shingle, I'm putting 6 nails. My first nail goes in at about 2 inches from the edge. Make sure everything is buried. Before you ever start the roof, walk over the roof, make sure every button cap is nailed down. Make sure all your drip edge is nailed down. You don't want any nails sticking up because it will cause holes in your roof. Continue spacing your nails out. Don't go below this white line. If you do, it's too low, you'll get what's called a shiner. And that's a nail that pokes through the reveal of the shingle. It'll eventually rust out and cause a roof leak. 4 nails in this shingle. Now on the next shingle, it's going to be full and there's no cement used. So all you have to do is place it exactly like I showed you. Right until the bottom of this shingle lines up with the raised portion of the shingle below it. Hold it in place. You don't want this slipping. Take a nail, put it on the edge at about 1.5 inches in is fine. All right. Make sure it hasn't slipped. If it has slipped, adjust it. Place it firmly. Put a nail right in the middle, and this is going to hold it. All right, now it's not going to slip anymore. Finish off with your 6 nails in the shingle. Move on to the next one. All right, now's a good time to mention that when you're on an asphalt shingle, don't wear heavy boots. You can wear boots when you're tearing the roof off, but don't wear heavy boots on the roof because you're twisting and turning. It'll mar the shingles like crazy. Wear something soft. These are just Skechers. They're just garbage shoes that I slip on, but they are perfect for roofing. Okay, now once you've got the other side cemented, take your next shingle and place it exactly like you've been doing, right on the raised portion, till it lines up perfectly. Okay, and here's what an Owens Corning 39-inch shingle with 24 inches cut off looks like. Again, keeping the factory edge into the field. Place it again right where the raised portion of the lower shingle touches it. And place it in the cement firmly. On this one, I would put 3 nails. And move on to the next one in the field with a full shingle. Once you get the hang of this, just finish it all the way up.